Let's go to page 24. This is lesson 1.4, and the objective of this lesson is to learn about measure and classifying angles. Okay, so again, here are some key vocabulary that you should learn as we go through the lesson. Okay, so the first thing is you have to learn is about angle. So the angle consists of two different rays. Like over here, this is the angle. So it consists of two rays, and they have a common point. Okay, so these are the side of the angle. This is the side of the angle, and the point over here, this is called the vertex of the angle. Okay, so the angle, it consists of two rays with a common point. And the way to name your angle, you can call it angle CAB, or you can call it BAC. Now, if there's only one angle, you also can call it angle A, like this over here. Okay, you can call it angle A to name it. Okay, but if you have this kind of situation, you cannot just call it angle X because there are multiple angles. So if you call it angle X, you're not going to know which one is it. Okay, you're not going to know if it's this way, or it's this way, or it's this whole thing. Okay. Okay, so let's go to example 1, name angles. It says name 3 angles in the diagram. So the first one is this angle over here. So this angle, you can call it WXY, or you can call it YXW. Okay, so you always start from side and you go to the vertex and go to the side. Okay. Now this smaller angle, you can name it YXZ, or you can name it ZXY. Okay, now the big angle, the biggest angle, you can name it WXZ or ZXW. Okay, but do not name any of the angle X, because if you call it angle X, then you're not going to know if it's this one, or the whole thing. Okay, you only can name it a single letter if you have this kind of situation. When you have only one angle, then you can name it angle A, because that way there's no confusion. But this one you cannot name it, call it angle X, because there are 3 different possibilities. Okay. Now next is you have to know how to measure angles. So you can get a protractor. Okay, so you can get a protractor, and then a protractor like this, and you can just line it up and you can just read off. So like this, for example, if you have angle A or B, okay, and to measure, you just line it up. One side of the angle on 0, you can read it off. Okay, and notice there are inner measurement and outer measurement. Okay, so you're going to use the one that has 0 on it. So like this over here is like one side is lined up with 0, right? So the 0 is on the inside. That means you have to use the inside. Okay. Now if you're going to measure this angle right over here, then the 0 would be over here. Right? If you have another angle right over here, like this one here, let's say if you're going to measure this angle right over here, that means the 0 is on this side. Right? You line up the 0 on one side. That means you have to use the one with the 0. So you have to use the outer one. So this angle right over here is 40 degrees. Okay? So that's how you use a protractor. Okay, now let's go to page 25, how to classify angles. Okay? So to classify angles, you have the acute angle, right angle, obtuse angle, and straight angle. Okay, acute means sharp. So if you imagine you have an instrument like a knife, so it's pointed, sharp, you can stab people with it. So acute is sharp. That means it's between 0 and 90. Right angle is exactly 90 degrees. Obtuse means something is not sharp, okay, and so it's like blunt, and so it's kind of hard to poke somebody with this. Okay, it's not as sharp as this. So that's obtuse angle, and a straight angle means a straight line is 180 degrees. Okay, and the way to remember is between the two is easy. Okay, the way to remember is think about acute angle. Look at letter A. See this looks like a letter A, right? If you turn it sideways, this looks like letter A. Okay, so that's how you remember. Acute angle is like sharp, so like letter A. Okay, obtuse looks like O, so think about if you complete that, like looks like O, so obtuse. Right? Imagine that you can keep going, make into a circle, so obtuse, and it's like the letter A. Okay, so that's how help you to remember, difference between acute and obtuse. Okay. So let's go to example 2. To it says use a diagram to find the measure of the indicated angle, then classify the angle. So A, you try to find the measure of KHJ. So KHJ, right over here. So notice the J is on the 0 and it's on the inside, so you have to use the inside scale. Okay, so this would be 55 degrees. Okay, so this one is 55 degrees. And again, looks like a letter A, right? So this is acute angle, right? You can remember when you saw like that, it looks like a letter A, right? So that's an acute angle. Okay, the B, GHK. So here's GHK. So it's going this way now. Okay. Now notice over here the 0. See, when you line up the 0, 0 is on the outside. So it means you have to use the outside scale. So you go all the way over here. So it's 125. So this is 125. And the angle will be obtuse. So I think about if you trace like that, it looks like it's going to end up a circle, right? So O, right? Obtuse, O. So this is an obtuse angle. Next one, the C, GHJ. So GHJ. So this is going straight. So that's 180 degrees. So in this case, it doesn't matter since this is on the 0, this is on the 0. So it doesn't matter if you use the inside or the outside. So if you use the outside, so you get 180. If you use the inside, you go this way, you get 180. So it doesn't matter. But make sure you use the one that has a 0 on it. Okay? So this is a straight angle. The part D, you got GHL. So this one over here. Okay? So again, to measure, this is on the 0, on the outside, so you use the outside number. So you go over here, so it's 90 degrees. So this is 90 degrees, and 90 degrees is a right angle. Right angle means it's straight, like perpendicular. That's what I mean. Okay? Okay. Now make sure you know everything that's in the green box, the postulate. Okay? So that's going to be, you have to know that, okay? Because the test would be, you would be test on the postulates and the notes. So whenever you see the green box, it says for your notebook, right? So make sure you have it in your notebook. Okay. So now let's go ahead and do the postulate. Angle addition postulate. Basically what it's saying is that when you have this kind of situation, okay, so the part 1 plus part 2 will equal to the whole thing. Basically what it's saying. So if you look at the blue, right, so M is a measurement, okay? Measurement of RST. So this whole big angle is equal to the top angle plus the bottom angle. So it's kind of common sense, okay? So this is called the angle addition postulate, okay? So one part plus the next part equal to the sum of the whole, equal to the whole thing. Okay. Another thing to remember is the interior. Interior means inside, okay? So interior of an angle is the part that's inside, like this over here. Okay. Okay. Let's go to example 3. Okay, so example 3, you have the problem. So let's go ahead and walk it through. Okay. So on page 26, example 3. Okay, so here's an M, here's a K, L. I kind of draw extra lines. It's easier to kind of visualize. But if you don't like that, let's go ahead and erase that so you don't get confused. Okay. And so this is 2x plus 10, and this is 4x minus 3 degrees. Okay. Now, one thing I have to be careful is that this looks like a 90 degrees, but do not assume that. Because when they don't have the right angle symbol, then you cannot assume that it's a right angle. Okay, the only time it tells you that it's a right angle when you see a little symbol. So don't assume that it's 90 degrees and set equal to 90. Okay? Okay, so it says the measure of angle LKN equal to 145 degrees. Okay, so again, we write down what it's giving, and you also write down what you're looking for. Okay, and you're looking for measure of angle LKM and measure of angle MKN. Okay, so before we can solve that, we need to go and find out what the x is equal to. Now it tells you that LKN, this whole thing is equal to 145. That means we can do this angle plus this angle will equal to 145. Okay, that's what it's giving. Okay, so first let's go ahead and combine the like terms. So 2x and 4x give me 6x. 10 and minus 3 give me plus 7. Okay, so use your algebra. So minus 7 on both sides. So we got 6x will equal to 138 divided by 6. So x will equal to 23. So once you find x equal to 23, now you can find out each one, right? Okay. So measure of angle LKM. So LKM is equal to 2x plus 10. Right? So you substitute. And make sure you remember your degree. Make sure you remember your label. Okay, so measure of angle LKM equal to that. Okay. Now we can do the same thing with measure of angle MKN. So MKN equal to 4x minus 3. Okay. Okay, so substitute. Okay, so minus you get 89 degrees. So as you can see, it's not 90 degrees. So it looks like 90 degrees, but you cannot assume. Okay, so do not assume unless you see a little, the little tiny square. Okay, if you don't see that, don't assume it's 90 degrees. Okay. Now let's go to the next part, the congruent angles. So on page 26, okay, so over here, congruent angles. So two angles are congruent angles if they have the same measure. Okay? So in the diagram below, you can say that the measure of angle A is equal to the measure of angle B, or you can say that angle A is congruent to angle B. Okay? So when you see that when they have the same markings, okay, so see over here, it's the same arc markings, that means they are congruent, means they are same. See, the same marking indicate the angles are the same. So over here, and the way to read it is measure of angle A equals to measure of angle B. Okay? And over here, angle A is congruent to angle B. So again, when you're doing the measurement, when you see equal, normally deal with numbers, whereas congruent usually deal with pictures. Okay? So basically, when it says equal means they have the same, they have equal degrees. Okay? When the measurement is same. Whereas congruent basically means they have the same picture. If you put this on top of each other, they should match. Okay? Okay. Let's go to example 4. Okay, example 4, trapeze. Okay, so over here you have this picture over here, and it tells you the angle DEG. So DEG, so the one with the two arcs. Okay, and what is the angle of GKL? GKL. Well, they're going to be the same because if you notice they have the same markings. Okay, if you see this one have two arcs and these are two arcs, it tells you that these two are the same. They are the congruent. So if they're congruent, they will have the same measurement. So this will equal to 157. Okay, so same thing. Notice there's one arc marking over here, one arc marking over here. That tells you that this angle and this angle, they have the same measurement. So these two angles are congruent. Okay. Okay. So here's an activity over here. So last time we learned about how to find the midpoint. Over here, this one shows you how to find the angle bisector. So if you have an angle and you want to cut in half, right? You want to find the angle bisector. the way to do it is just fold the paper over so that BC will fall directly on AB. So you fold it over, so this line, this segment map onto this, and you make a crease. When you open it up, that crease will be your angle bisector. Okay, so that's how you find the angle bisector. Okay, let's go to the definition. So an angle bisector is a ray that divides an angle into two angles that are congruent. So again, angle bisector is the one that cut the angle into two equal angles. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this example over here. Okay, again, this is super easy. So it's in the diagram at right, the ray YW. So here's your YW. It bisects the angle XYZ. So this angle bisects, and that's why you see the two red marking over here. Because this bisect, that means two equal angles. And that's why you see the two same markings. So it tells you that this angle and this angle, they are same. They are equal. Okay? So it says if a measure of angle XYW, so XYW equal to 18. So it tells you that this angle is 18. Okay? Well, since they're the same, so if this is 18, this would be 18, right? And so the whole thing would be equal to 18 plus 18 give you 36. Okay. So again, angle bisector will cut the angle into two equal angles. And it giving to you that this is 18, therefore this would be 18. And if this is 18 and 18, this whole big angle is 36.